She and her husband are just ordinary folks. She worked in the county clerk's office. Her husband's a police officer. But their little 5-year-old boy, Ryan, for the last year, had talked about a past life in Hollywood. And he would cry and beg his mother to take him home to Hollywood. And this was quite hard for her to endure. You know, it's hard to, as a parent, to see your child suffering, and he was suffering on a daily basis. So she had heard that if kids can kind of process some of this, that see more of the past life stuff, that it can help them deal with it. So she went to the public library and checked out some books on Hollywood. And they were looking through one of them one day when Ryan pointed to a picture. There's this picture from an old movie called Night After Night. It's actually the first movie that Mae West was in. But the picture just shows a group of men, and a couple of them sort of in the middle, everyone's focused on. And he pointed to one of those and said, "Hey, Mama, that's George. We did a picture together." And then he pointed to one of the men on the end and said, "Mama, that's me. I found me." Well, the first one he pointed to is George Raft, a young George Raft, who went on, well, you may not know, but for those of us of a certain age, but went on to be quite well known in his day. But the other one he pointed to that he said he had been was an extra with no lines in the movie. But with the help of an archivist, we were able to find out who this was. The archivist, she went to the library of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and I don't know really that there was such a library, but got all the materials on this movie Night After Night, most of which was about the stars of the movie. But then there's one picture of this guy, and on the back of it identified him as this man, Marty Martin. Which meant that we could then compare what Ryan said to Marty's life. And it turned out that even though I really thought it was unlikely this extra had this dramatic life that Ryan was describing, Marty Martin did. So Ryan talked about dancing on stage in New York, and Marty had danced on Broadway. And he said he went to Hollywood to work in the movies, which Marty Martin did, mostly working on dance in the movies. Said that he had then worked for an agency where people changed their names, and Marty Martin started a successful talent agency. Said he had this big house with a swimming pool, and that the street name had either the word rock or mount in it. And Marty Martin lived on North Roxbury. Talked about sailing on ships and seeing Paris, which Marty Martin did with his wife. And Ryan also said that one day he said he didn't know why God would let you get to be 61 and then make you come back again as a baby. And Marty Martin's death certificate, he died in 1964. His death certificate said that he was only 59, but his daughter and his stepson both said, in fact, it was 61. So I looked into it and found a passenger list, 3 census records, and 2 marriage listings that all gave ages that meant, in fact, Marty Martin was 61 when he died. So Ryan was right about that, even though the death certificate said 59. So altogether, we were able to verify that over 50 of Ryan's statements matched with Marty Martin's life. A few were off, and then many more were unverifiable. I mean, there were little details about daily life, which, that long ago we weren't able to verify, but 55 of them we were. And at the time, there was nothing on Marty Martin on the internet. Eventually, now people have actually filled in some of the information after this case got some publicity, but there's no way that Ryan and his family found out anything about Marty Martin through some sort of surreptitious means.